You want to talk about video games as art real quick or no?
We can, simply because
someone brought it up.
Someone brought it up, and it's not a conversation I particularly like having because I don't feel like it ever goes anywhere. But I mean, why not? I mean, it's a video game podcast. We just talked about wrestling for 40 minutes. Might as well get our opinions on it out there. Quite simply, yes, without trying to explain why, because the more you over-explain it, the stupider it gets. I do think video games can be art. I think that plenty of games that want to be seen as artsy do not come across as that at all, and plenty of very simple, basic games I see as art, as you know, playing them is you know, takes you into a state, and there's just something perfect and wonderful about it.
So you see the entire product of a video game as art, not individual pieces of it.
Right. I think a video game as a whole can be art. Absolutely. I'm not going to get, and then the next question is, well, what makes a video game art? And that's,
here's a definition of art: the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination, typically doesn't mean always, in a visual form such as painting or sculpture, producing works to be appreciated primarily for their beauty or emotional power. So in that definition, yes, video games can be art.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, I don't know why it's such an argument, probably because there have been people who have claimed that they aren't, but
Roger Ebert did, but then he reversed course.
Well, he kind of double backed on it, and I don't know. I don't know why it's such a... The problem is then people want to pick like games that they feel like should be
classified as
art, or like what games would you show people as art? Like one that everyone picks. And, oh god, I can already see the back. Everyone wants to pick Braid. I didn't like Braid. I didn't like Braid the game at all. I didn't care for it.
I like the hairstyle.
But then you know, something like Killer 7 for me. I would consider it art. Why? Because I got really into it. I felt something. I enjoyed the style of it. I enjoyed the story. You know, I just, there was something great about it as a whole piece, as a work. You know, it was something that I greatly enjoyed. Like you would a good movie. Sure. If movies can be art, then if books can be art, then video games can be art.
Art's subjective. You think something is art is always subjective, though. So by that definition, you shouldn't have to rely on someone else to reaffirm what you like as art. You shouldn't.
Right.
You should trust your own self, and it's the same thing with anything else, though, that when someone gives a bad review of something, you feel offended for some reason because they're not affirming what you enjoy. It's the same thing. If you think video game is art, it's art.
Well, there's someone in the comments who got all upset because I didn't like Final Fantasy anymore. And it's like, man, I'm not telling you not to like Final Fantasy.
Well,
you know?
that's with anything, though.
Yeah, but, you know, it's just... Yeah, I mean, yes, I think it's art. You don't have to. And if you do, you don't need the affirmation of a third party to tell you that.
Never. And I even think that I was trying to say individual pieces. I think individual pieces of a game can be looked at as art.
Oh, yeah,
obviously,
absolutely.
The music of ActRaiser is beautiful.
Yeah.
So, some of the just scenes how they play out with the people in ActRaiser. That's why it's one of my favorite games. Is beautiful. I think that's art.
Landscapes can be great. You play through something like El Shaddai and you see the beautiful surreal landscapes that you play through. That's art. You know, I mean, there's all sorts of ways that it can be viewed as art, whether broken down or taken as a whole.
I think the reason why some people I'm trying to play devil's advocate, why they say it wasn't, because unlike the other forms of media, this one's interactive. And so maybe they think that the fact that you're almost creating your own experience, that itself doesn't make it art. The fact that, you know what I mean, it's fluid, it's not always, not that you get the same sort of message out of a painting that the next person does, but it's static. Video games are not static. The experience with games changes person to person, but the movie's always the same. The book is always the same letters. The picture's always the same. The music is always going to be the same song. I
would argue that makes it potentially more art, because it's so much more about what you put into it and then what you get out of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's a silly debate. I think, like, you know, you said when it comes down to it, almost anything can be art if you choose to view it as such.